you got a map.
Yeah, we got a map from Transportation for America here. This graphic shows...
Who are you guys first?
Oh, this is
Mr. Governor, how you doing? I'm Jim Bonner. Jim, how are you? How you doing? I'm laid off Well, we're trying to get the economy going.
Well, can you fund mass transportation? That's what we need.
Well, what we are trying to do is, we have a number of different issues. One of which is transportation.
Right.
But we have to be able to come up with a way to fund it that isn't based upon gasoline tax or anything like that. So we're looking at the short term. We're looking at a long-term fix. It's not. Is it going to be done in 3 weeks or 3 months? I don't think so. It's a long-term fix, but we're working on it in Harrisburg.
Well, we're talking. My name's Dave Nighthausen. Pennsylvania wants to work. I talk with unemployed and unemployed workers every day. But, from our point of view, one of the best ways to revitalize the economy is direct funding to put folks back to work fixing our roads and bridges. And frankly, there was a lot of support today from neighbors for this. I think folks are very tuned in to the danger of especially structurally deficient bridges. There's a graphic over there. So it's just a question. It's our concern. Obviously it's a cost issue, but it's also a safety issue. It's a question not of if, but when we're going to have a major disaster in Pennsylvania in terms of our bridges.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is right now the economy that's going like this.
Right.
We're trying to build it. I'm trying to build it in Pennsylvania as much as we possibly can. And we've got to do it the correct way. When it comes to the roads and bridges, part of the problem that we have is the fact that our cars are more fuel efficient. Now, why do I say that's a problem? Because the more fuel efficiency we have, the less revenue we have coming in. Because you don't fuel up your cars.
In terms of gas, in terms of tax on gas?
The gas is one. That's why we're working on trying to find some solution that is a long-term solution. Because what they're not going to do in Harrisburg, they're not going to vote for gasoline tax.
Well, now one of the recommendations of the commission, of the governor's commission on funding, said the producers could be the folks who
the oil franchise.
The oil franchise. That's a revenue source.
It's one of the things that we're taking a look at. But right now, you have to worry about, do they just pass it along to the consumer? If they pass it along to the consumer, that's 14 cents a gallon. Now, today, I looked at the gas prices, I saw $3.39. Not bad. Okay, but if it goes back up to $3.90, you have 14 cents a gallon. Wait a second, what's happening? It's getting too hard to even drive the car. So what we're trying to do, and I've been talking to the leadership about some ideas for a short-term issue, but then for a long-term issue. I'll give you a prime example. Where do you find money for something like this? First off, I think we ought to have a transportation trust fund that doesn't keep going like this. We create a fund that we invest money in. Where would we invest money in? Well, I think one of the areas we could invest money in is if we get out of the business of selling liquor, and take that money and put it right into transportation. That's one of the areas that, there's 4 areas that you could take that money: transportation, education.
So we're talking about privatizing liquor stores as a revenue source?
It's one revenue source. It's
but
one potential.
It's not a proper revenue.
Yes, it is.
Now
I'm not going to get into that debate. You want to talk about? You want to talk about transportation?
We're talking about roads and bridges and jobs.
Okay, and I'm talking about getting money.
Well, I'm very encouraged to hear you at least putting it on. It sounds like it's a priority. Just a couple of weeks ago, I read it in the paper that you had, and it's not that you had said it was not a top priority.
Well,
can we actually say that it's a top priority?
We're working on 4 things. We're working on transportation. We're working on education reform. Marcellus and the issue of Marcellus.
Well, that's an interesting issue.
And we're working on privatization.
Okay. Even folks who are very much on the right are talking about this issue. Just the other day, I was talking to a business owner in Pittsburgh about this, and he said, "Well, first of all, I'm sure I'm not going to agree with you on a lot of things, but I do. Number one, he agreed the bridges need to be fixed, and number 2, he agreed that Marcellus drillers should not get a pass.
But they aren't getting a pass.
But they are getting a pass.
No, they aren't.
How are they not getting a pass?
They're paying taxes. They paid over $1 billion in taxes. Everybody says they're not paying. You know what? I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay.
They've paid, since 2007, they've paid $1.6 billion in taxes.
Well, if they're going to be benefiting from using our roads and bridges, which are in such a devastating, they are.
Can I finish?
Oh, sure.
Okay. They paid $1.6 billion in taxes. They have employed, direct and indirect, over 100,000 people in Pennsylvania, in the Marcellus area. That is growing. Where do you think we get the revenue? We get the revenue coming in. Our unemployment would be higher. but they get the revenue coming in sales tax, sales and use tax for everything that they buy, the corporate net income. When they go out and they buy equipment and stuff, they pay us. Can I finish? Well, do you want? We get the revenue from that. We get the revenue from all the workers that are employed there. If you're employed, you pay your state income tax. They pay their corporate net income tax. It's at 9.9%. It's the second. It is the second highest in the country. Texas doesn't have one.
Right.
They don't have one.
Right.
Hear me? They don't have one.
But we're talking about a state, Pennsylvania, which has the highest number in the country, and a metropolitan area, Pittsburgh, which has the number one highest number of structurally
and
deficient
that's why
shouldn't there be a special responsibility?
I'm going to finish here.
Can I ask a question?
That's why the county option. If the county wants to take the money, put it into the local impacts, including
we're talking about Marcellus money.
Yeah, the county bridges, because there's a lot of county bridges that are included in that. Okay, then I've asked for 25% of the impact fee money that would be collected in the county would come to the state. Of that, I forget exactly what the number is. The vast majority of it would go to PennDOT. PennDOT would then use it for roads in the counties, roads and bridges in the counties that are being impacted by the development of Marcellus. That money can be used there. That's going to be helpful to it also. The most important thing right now is to grow the jobs in Pennsylvania and keep us competitive. You know why? The state right next to us, Ohio, is trying to take all these rigs with it and the jobs with it. We need the jobs in order to continue to grow this industry that has impacts for all Pennsylvanians in many good ways. There's some people, I understand, environmentalists, some people upset, but not only revenue and clean air.
Governor, are you going to push a transportation funding bill for this legislative session this year?
We are talking to the legislature.
I know you have a House.
We are talking. I won't make a promise that it'll be this year because, you know, I don't control the number of days in the legislature.
Sure.
We've got 4 big issues. We're working on those 4 big issues. This session goes until November of 2012. We are working on it. We are talking to the legislature. Okay. Okay. One more thing, because I've got to go.
I'm sorry. One more question. Port Authority is on the brink of bankruptcy. Can we possibly fix that by March before they talk about more layoffs? By March before they talk about more layoffs. They're talking about 700 more layoffs. I hope to get my job back by March. It doesn't cost them with that the way they're going. Can you inject it on an emergency basis?
Well, do we have money to inject on an emergency basis? No, we don't.
How about raise taxes for somebody?
No.
I'll pay taxes.
I've made a promise.
How about closing loopholes? In fact, there was a lady who said she used to go to her house as a Boy Scout who lives up by Spruce. She was real nice. And when we were talking about this issue, and she raised a concern. She goes, "I definitely want these bridges fixed. I'm worried about where the funding's coming from." And I said, "Well, we would suggest that a lot of the guys at the top have incredible loopholes that they exploit to avoid paying their fair share." And it was almost like a light bulb. She said, "Absolutely, that's what we need to do to fix these bridges." And I was, I think her name was Miss Helsickle? I can't remember exactly her. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name.
Oh, I know who you mean.
She was very sweet.
Cub Scouts.
Yeah, she was very sweet, and she was worried about the revenue stream as well. But when we said, look, there's guys at the top exploiting incredible loopholes, that's where that money comes from.
I will tell you, we are trying to find money wherever we can. We also have to grow the jobs in Pennsylvania. The more we grow jobs in Pennsylvania, the more money we get.
Right.
I'm sorry. I am sorry. I have to go because I have an appointment on the other side of the county that I have to be at.
If we close those loopholes, we can put folks back to work fixing bridges.
Okay.
Here's a transportation bill. That's what we need.
Safe bridges, good jobs.